Hi, welcome to my video demonstrating the use of a simple water level sensor and how to interface it to Arduino and how to calibrate. This is a very basic video and demonstrates, assumes that you know how to use Arduino, etc. Here is my water level sensor for $264 at Amazon. It's a very simple and very inexpensive sensor. And here are a couple more shots of it. It has very simple 3 pins that are plus, minus, and signal, and it works anywhere from 3 to 5 volts. And as you can see, there's some traces on it. As you dip it into the water, those traces conduct to each other and basically changes the voltage level that is produced out of what you have supplied. So we're going to use the 5-volt supply of Arduino, and what we are going to read is at the most expected is 1024, a value of 1024, which corresponds to 5 volts, and 0, which corresponds to 0 volts. And so this is how you connect it to Arduino. Very simple, 3 leads, and 3 leads go to plus 5 volts, and the ground, of course, and the third lead is the signal. And looking at the details of what it looks like, here is the basic layout of the pins and how they connect to the sensor and how it looks all together. So in this case, I have hooked them up in a very simple cooperation. And once you connect your Arduino to your computer, it lights up. It's showing you that it actually is ready to. Now that we have connected our sensor to our Arduino, we're going to set up our software. So bring up the Arduino environment by either clicking on the icon or going through the Start menu, and you should see something like this. And we're going to use a program that's already built into the it comes with the environment. So that's in File, Examples, Analog In Out Serial. That's the program we want. So click on that, and that will open a window and bring it up for you. So I'd like to see the whole program, so I do this. And if you look at this program, this is an example code for dealing with analog input. And it will actually read the analog pin A0, which is the one that we actually used for our sensor. And it also uses pin number 9 to generate an analog signal that is proportional to what we read. We're going to ignore that for now. And you'll see that it uses the serial monitor at 9600 baud. So that's the capability we're going to use. And it actually every 2 milliseconds is going to make a reading, which is, I doubt that it's going to be that fast because we're using 9600 baud I/O. But in any case, so it's just going to read it as fast as it can, and we're going to see the values that are generated by the device. So make sure that your Arduino, go to Port, Tools, Port menu, and make sure that your Arduino is selected there. And once it's done, you can actually use the buttons. That's the upload button. See when you put it on, it says upload, and you can use the upload button to upload the program. It first will actually check the program, make sure it's correct, and it will upload it. Then it will give you this message, done uploading, and there are no error messages here, no reds, so we're good. Now what we need to do is see the values that actually are coming from our sensor. So to see that, we're going to open a serial monitor, and once our serial monitor opens, the first thing we're going to see is essentially zeros because our sensor is dry and it's all out there. So we're reading actually zeros. We're going to now prepare our test setup. Full a glass of water, and we're going to dip our sensor in slowly until, and get our readings all the way. until it goes all the way down into the water. Of course, do not exceed where the traces end. I would caution you, the electronics and water don't go mix very well. So what our experiment is going to be, dipping it into the water slowly and pulling it out again, hopefully with the same speed, so that we get an idea of what the values look like. And when you're finished, you should rub it clean with some cloth or some paper, and because whatever remains on it will actually give you a non-zero reading. So here it is again, dipping it slowly into the water and taking readings in between at all points, and then pulling it back up after you're all the way in, pulling it back up and keeping hopefully at the same space. And now we can retire it and see what happens. We start with, we get a cup of water, and we're ready to dip our sensor in there and see what the values are. So we dip it just so slightly, and you can see when we dip it in, the values start from going from immediately from 100s to 200s, and the more we dip it in, like 1/3 of it is we're already 560s, and half of it done, we're 620s, and all of it immersed, 300 and 650s. So, and pulling it back slowly, as you can see, this is by no means a linear device. Here we are at the very beginning, and there's a sharp increase when I dip it just a little, and then it's proportional, basically going in a manner that increases much slower as we go further down. So to calibrate this, we're going to have to take these values and plot them and see how the values fare out, and then be able to do something. But essentially, now that we have completed the setup, I can actually collect this data and put it into maybe MATLAB or some other thing, and plot it and see come up with a characteristic curve for the sensor. We're going to have to do that in the next video. I did go through and got the values and put them in MATLAB, and I did a rudimentary first cut plot. And as you can see, it is like we thought. It's a totally nonlinear, and there's a very rapid increase to 300s, and then almost a linear patch up to 600s, and then a shoulder, and then more than that, the going up and going down are not with the same speed, which means that we are looking at a hysteresis curve that's different. So going up and going down, however, between 300 and 600 seems to be pretty linear in each case. So we can calibrate and use this, and at least there is some usable range that seems to be linear in this, or close to linear. And therefore, it's a workable, depending on the application, it's a pretty workable sensor. And I will do another video to discuss later the topic of sensor calibration in more depth. Thank you for watching.